Hi. In this block, we're going to look at what is information. We talk about information systems and systems for managing information. We need to take just a minute to actually make sure we understand what we mean when we say information. The English language has a lot of words that are similar to information, and we want to parse through exactly what that means. One of the key points in information is something called data. Data are simply facts. They are information. It's a fact. It could be true. It could be false. It could be important. It could be trivial. It's just something that we know, that we have stored. When we combine that data and organize it in certain ways, it becomes much more useful. And then we call it information. Information is really what information systems are designed to provide and to manage. Some other words that you'll encounter philosophically: beyond information comes knowledge, becomes our awareness and our understanding of what the data, what the information tells us, and ultimately from that comes perhaps wisdom. In this case, we're going to talk about data a lot and information a lot. Now, we've looked at the elements of information systems in a previous block. In this block, we're looking at data. We're looking at that information, the raw material that the information system processes. And I want you to know a couple of things about this data. We're going to describe it a little bit. And one of the most important is data integrity. I know that this is a lengthy description and definition of what is data integrity, but it's important to understand when we store data in an information system, we want to know just how good that data is. Can it be trusted? The more data integrity we have, the more trustworthy is the information. If I store data in 2 or 3 places inside an information system, that same piece of data in each place should be identical. If it's not, I've got very poor data integrity. There's an old joke: a man with 1 watch knows what time it is. A man with 2 is never sure. With poor data integrity, we're never sure. There's also data redundancy. Data redundancy is essentially how many different times the same information is stored. If you have very high data redundancy, you store the information in multiple places, then you risk having weak data integrity. What if I store the same birthday in 3 different places, but in the 3rd place it's different from the first 2? Now I don't know what I've got. Data redundancy is also important, though. If you don't have enough, you risk losing the data. We also have a class of data called metadata, and metadata is just data about data. It's data about how other elements of data are processed. In other words, if you have a column of data called birth dates for your employees, then the information that tells you that column is about birth dates is an example of metadata. So one thing to remember when we talk about information systems are not quite the same thing as information technology. When we refer to IT, to information technology, what we mean is the hardware and the software that goes into that information system. When we talk about an information system, what we mean is that same IT, but also the people and the data. I would encourage you to watch this video as often as you like to gain more knowledge and to help you understand. I would also encourage you to look at the site's information, review the questions, do the additional reading. Thank you.